This picture is good because it focuses on the sun in the background, and the horizontal lines made by the light pole add more detail to the picture. The saturation in this picture was also raised to make the picture look more interesting and give it more life. The tomatoes in this picture have more saturation than the rest, making them stand out. The diagonal lines made by the zucchini add more to the picture itself. The texture of the onion didn't really show up, so I had to Photoshop it and colorize it to make it stand out and see more texture. In this picture, I should have used depth of field to call more attention to the subject, but the pattern on the shirt also calls attention towards her. The wrinkly texture on the shirt calls one in also. On the studio portrait, I tried to focus more on the eyes of the subject while also making them stand out. The vertical lines on the sweater of my subject, with the contrast of black and white, make her stand out from the rest with no distractions from the wardrobe. The couple on the bottom have depth of field, while also the saturation of the red on her makes her stand out from the rest of the picture. The saturation of the orange around the tire calls more attention to the subject. Although the picture is very grainy, it takes away from the picture. The picture has good depth of field, calling more attention only to the orange around the tire. The texture that the railroad tracks have made the picture more interesting while also giving the feeling that one can touch it. There is contrast between the snow in the background and the brown color of the railroad tracks. It could have a little bit more depth of field to blur the background because it's not important and doesn't add anything to the picture itself. The background on this photo is blurred out by Photoshop, making it appear like shallow depth of field. The texture of the roses make them stand out, while the saturation of them also call more attention to the eye. The saturation of the blue on the dress was raised to call more attention. The horizontal position of her laying down also made the dress stand out. If seen close up, the little circular patterns on her dress add a lot of visual texture. In this picture, the shape of the rose and paint splatters have a lot of texture, while there is also contrast between the blue and the black in the background. In this picture, you can really see the texture of the plates. The saturation was also raised to make it look more white, and the pattern of how the plates were arranged to unite the picture overall. This picture has depth of field, making the food stand out more. The saturation of the reds and green was raised to make the object more attractive. The contrast between white and red make the tomatoes stand out more. In this picture, the saturation of the clouds was raised. The background of the trees were duplicated to make the photo symmetric, while the contrast of the trees and the clouds make the water pop out more and call more attention to it.